You've raised salaries for first-year analysts. We're talking about kids straight out of college to $110,000 a year. Some firms in your business are paying even more. Is the competition for junior talent, fresh meat, really that intense?
Well, if you call it fresh meat, that's the first thing we won't do. High intellectual talent, and the answer is yes. There's so many opportunities now. Startup economy. I think there's now 1,000 unicorns. So I think if you're a highly talented young person, you've never seen more opportunity. And with COVID, you've also never seen more lifestyle changes sort of distracting you and trying to show you different directions you might want to go.
Are you raising these salaries willingly or begrudgingly? Do you have any sympathy for the young kids who think they're being worked too hard?
Well, Eric, I've been doing this 40 years, so I slept under a desk many a night. You know, I stayed in the office many a night, so I have a lot of sympathy. And we're not doing it grudgingly. These people, business is booming. And, you know, someone like our firm, I think our last quarter, we were up 100% year over year, and our people are up 10%. So you could just do the math. Somebody's working very hard. and I think they deserve to be paid more.
I have to ask, with bonuses, total comp for these junior bankers can top $200,000 a year. What did you make as a 22-year-old at Drexel?
I think I made $35,000, and I thought I was the richest. I told my father, I'm the richest person in the world. There's nothing I can't afford to buy. So, but a different time.
What everyone is wondering, the bankers for sure, but the paymasters like you, is whether this reset in comp can last, perhaps for a period of years, or do you see yourself having to jack up compensation again next summer?
It's possible.
Really?
Look, we need great talent, and the deal flow, if it continues to rise the way it does, we need the best talent in the world, and we need to divert them from other unbelievable opportunities in the venture capital world, in the growth economy. So, look, it's just it's great for the talent. If you think about it, we're having to compete, and we're willing to compete.
What's happening further up the pay scale? Is the battle for the senior talent as intense, more intense than it is for the junior bankers?
A little different. I think on the senior talent, I think the revenue and the amount of deal flow, I think everybody thinks they're just going to get paid more. It's more of a bonus situation, and I believe that if you look at the numbers and what the possibilities are for managing directors, I think it'll take care of itself because firms are having good years, and if you haven't done something really silly during the year, most of your senior people will do very well.
What about the in-betweens, the associates, the VPs? Evercore just raised associate pay across the four-year scale. You guys having to do the same thing?
You know, it's very complicated. I think we did, but you know, our pay is salary, bonus. There's a lot of ways and how you devise it. We're definitely expect and are paying people more than we ever have, and they're working harder than they ever had, and they're being more productive. Technology's making them extremely productive.
Ken, you founded Moelis Company amid the chaos of the financial crisis, when top bankers were fleeing the big firms. Could you do that today in the midst of this talent war?
Oh, no. No. The thing that happened to us in 08, 09 was such a, looking backwards, at the time I was, you know, very nervous about it. It felt like the world was falling apart. But it ended up being a very unique opportunity for us to hire talent. You know, stocks, people had unvested stocks at major financial institutions like Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers that went to zero. So you didn't even have to pick up these unvested stocks. Today, it would be, I don't think you can form another company like ours right now.
Impossible.
Look, it would cost a couple of $1 billion, I think, to just unravel the deferred compensation structures.
For most of your career, the goal of pretty much every M&A banker was to win over the boardroom at the big strategic buyers, right? The GEs, the AT&Ts, the Ciscos, that's where the money was. But in 2021, I don't need to tell you the figures, but everybody else needs to know, 15 of the top 20 deal makers are financial buyers. Yeah. Blackstone, Tiger Global, Sequoia, CPP, the list goes on, not strategics. What's that telling us?
Well, it's fantastic for the M&A business. The M&A business has gone, like you said, 20 years ago it was a tactic. You went to the GE board, just to pick a name, And it was a tactic to get a strategic opportunity done, and you may or may not do it. Today, it's actually an industry, meaning there are firms that are in the business of doing M&A. They get given money, $25 billion, some of them, $30 billion. I think we'll see a $50 billion fund before the next 5 to 7 years are out. And they want to do transactions. Now, they also delegate down to junior talent like we are. So the biggest checkbook in the world 20 years ago was Jeff Immelt, maybe at GE. And today, a 37-year-old at a major PE firm may have a bigger M&A checkbook than the Fortune 10 did 20 years ago.
You think we'll see a $50 billion private equity fund?
Oh, definitely. I mean, people forget that in 2000, when KKR did the big millennial fund, it was like $5 billion. And that was only 20 years ago. I think, and I'm not up to, I think KKR reported that they raised $67 billion in the first quarter. So, look, the acceleration of capital into private equity, the attributes of it, I can't see why it wouldn't happen.
Add leverage, it's firepower of $250 to $300 billion. It's remarkable.
Markets have grown.
Ken, I've always known you as someone who'll go anywhere and talk to anyone if there's business to be had, even if it means getting up in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner to catch a plane. A story we can tell later. What about China? Do you agree with George Soros that doing business in China is no longer morally justifiable because it's tantamount to supporting a totalitarian regime?
No. And the reason I don't agree is not that I have is that I'm a business person. And, there are politicians who make that. I think the amount of business people that are getting involved in these issues because they think there's only one side of an issue. Look, the reason things are issues is because there's two sides to it. China is something that our government should deal with, in that sense. In my world, I try to look at business as business, and I think there's way too much pressure or way too much focus on business trying to get involved in issues. Let me tell you, most of these issues are 55-45 or 60-40. And there's a lot of people who think there's clarity on what side you should be on, and I think that's very dangerous.